Jordan Sekulow is an attorney, executive director of the American Center for Law and Justice. He served as a member of President Trump's personal legal team, defending him in the first impeachment trial, and also served as the team's primary spokesman. He says these new criminal charges against the former president are another desperate, deep state attempt to keep him from ever holding office again. Please welcome to our show a very skilled attorney and one we like, Jordan Sekulow. Jordan, honor to have you.
Good to see you.
I want to jump into this stuff. The latest thing is the leaked audio where the president is supposedly talking. First of all, if it leaked, somebody from the DOJ had to be responsible for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's only two people. It's the DOJ or the author who was also possibly recording. And are they doing it because they want to make a bigger name for themselves? This was the author who co-wrote the book with the president's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows. But yes, I mean, once you have these leaks like this, it's almost impossible to mount a normal defense.
But I've heard very scholarly legal professors, Jonathan Turley of Georgetown, Alan Dershowitz, professor emeritus from Harvard. Liberals never voted for Trump, hardcore Democrats, but they say these charges that have been thrust on Trump lately are nonsense. Do you agree with that assessment?
I do. I mean, these are slap-on-the-wrist civil cases. If the National Archives really believed 6 months after that a president had documents, a president specifically had documents they needed, and they were not getting them back fast enough, DOJ has a civil division. All they have to do is file a civil suit. It doesn't have to be criminal. You don't need to be charging the president or a former president for the first time ever in history and start this brand new novel theory of law of how would we handle a criminal prosecution of a president who has this unique power to declassify that no other member of the government has.
And also, have they not opened a can of worms that'll never be closed?
Of course.
That for the future, every time a person leaves office, somebody's going to go and say, oh, let's get the FBI to send a SWAT team, go to their home at 6 in the morning, not let their attorney see what's happening. I was stunned that there was no due process.
And try to overwhelm them. So this is what the cost is now of, I guess, being elected president and then being the Republican leading nominee in the next election cycle.
So they're looking at it as a death of 1,000 cuts as opposed to let's go for the jugular because they don't have anything that
There is no jugular. In fact, even this leak that came out, the classic thing about this, and anybody that's talked to Donald Trump personally, and a lot of these reports that come out, you know, he talks very openly, but he also talks very big, I would say. And they still have admitted that this supposed document that he's talking about has never been found. Not by the team that raided, not by his lawyers, not by National Archives. So it might not be that he was talking about one single document, but instead a bunch of different things that were kind of given to him or advised to him when he was president of the United States. And he was just kind of fighting back against this report that was going to be in a book that he was the one that wanted to invade Iran. And in fact, he was saying, no, it wasn't. It was just a bunch of advisors constantly telling me they wanted to go to war.
Do you think Donald Trump would ever just say, okay, look, I'm just sick of this. Just give me a misdemeanor and I'll walk away?
At the end of the day, he wants to be vindicated. And ultimately he will be vindicated. Just like the first impeachment when he was acquitted, the second impeachment when he was acquitted, the special counsel investigation, which found nothing. We know this is the same. It is a witch hunt. And it is the death by 1,000 cuts, like you said. In this case, there's so many procedural hurdles for the federal government and the DOJ. And this special counsel, for everybody out there to know, he's good sometimes at getting indictments. He's very bad at getting even convictions to hold. In fact, they've been overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court against Republicans and Democrats.
And there have been a number of legal scholars, I'll mention Dershowitz and Turley again, but others as well, who have said that there's a very good likelihood that if Trump has the kind of lawyers he's going to have, and hopefully does, they may present the case in such a way the judge throws the whole thing out and says, this is not a case that needs to come before me in criminal court.
It's possible.
Do you agree with that?
It's possible. If you take an aggressive approach, we worked with Professor Dershowitz. He joined our impeachment legal team. And it was great to work with him because he'll come up with these very tough criminal defense attorney kind of ideas like, let's take it to him and say, why are we even in criminal court? This is a charge that you don't prosecute. And let's go through the history of all the people you don't prosecute, including the former vice president. That was pretty quickly handled. They could have prosecuted him if they wanted to because he didn't have to do anything with the documents, just having him in his house. President Biden, right now you can't prosecute a sitting president, but out of office, you're going to then prosecute him for having those documents as well? And the answer should be no. We should not be prosecuting people for having, they have no allegation in any of these individuals' cases, neither Mike Pence's or President Trump's, that they shared these documents. That's the real crime. That's the real espionage. I know Professor Dershowitz is actually wants the attorneys, it's an interesting idea, to file a motion so that they stop using the word espionage, because Americans hear that, and these charges fall under the Espionage Act. He's not actually being charged with espionage. It's just the charges fall under that act. These are about the lowest charges in the act. And then the ones that you hear about where people are even put to death, that's espionage. That's sharing usually nuclear or military information with a foreign government. There's no allegation of that here.
Well, Jordan, I want to say thanks for continuing to just be on top of this. Hey, I know you'd like to follow Jordan and the work that ACLJ is doing. You can do that by going to Huckabee.tv. We will connect you to the ACLJ and to Jordan and his legal work. Check out his daily radio show. It's on 1,000 radio stations all over the country, as well as on Sirius XM. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I hope you will now. The button is just below this video, and there's a little bell next to it. If you click on those, YouTube will reluctantly start letting you know when we've got a new video uploaded.